You learned to disappear in ways so small they never looked like leaving, not the kind of disappearance that draws attention or concern. Just a gradual softening at the edges of yourself that became so familiar it stopped feeling like something you were doing at all. It lives in the pauses you take before speaking, even when your thoughts are clear, in the way your body already knows how to take up less space without being told, and how your presence feels adjustable, as if there is an internal dial you learn to turn down early. You are present, aware, attentive, yet slightly held back, moving through rooms and conversations in a way that doesn't disturb the air around you, existing carefully rather than fully. This wasn't a decision made in a single moment. There was no clear point where you chose to become smaller. It formed quietly, shaped by what felt safest at the time, by environments where attention carried consequences, where being noticed invited reactions you learned to avoid. You observed what was welcomed and what wasn't, which expressions were met with ease and which created tension. And without blame or judgment, you adapted. You learned how to stay by becoming careful. You learned how to belong by becoming easier. Disappearing was not absence, it was precision, a way of shaping yourself just enough to pass through without friction or risk. Staying meant reading rooms before entering them, sensing moods before words arrived, understanding when to soften your tone, when to delay your needs, when to step aside so heavier emotions didn't land on you. It meant knowing that calm often depended on you not asking for too much, on you not reacting too strongly, on you not needing in ways that might overwhelm the space around you. Over time, this careful adjustment stopped feeling like a response and became the background setting of your life. The way you listen, the way you speak, the way you leave room for others, while quietly reducing your own. There is a quiet intelligence in this, even if it was never acknowledged. You became observant, sensitive, deeply aware of shifts others missed, learned that visibility can come with weight, and that being seen sometimes brings expectations or pressures you weren't ready or allowed to carry. So you learned to carry less by being less noticeable. But carrying less attention never meant carrying less responsibility. It meant carrying more awareness, more internal monitoring, more restraint. Your body learned how to stay alert without showing it, how to remain available while not asking anything back, how to keep composure even when something inside tightened or pulled away. And this kind of disappearance is not empty. It is full of held breaths, unsaid words, and constant small adjustments happening beneath the surface. Over time, the cost of this shows up, not as collapse, but as a softer, deeper exhaustion. Not the kind that sleep easily touches, but the kind that settles quietly into your muscles and your mind. It comes from always being slightly on guard, always tracking the emotional weather, always editing yourself before the world receives you. You might notice it in how difficult it is to rest without distraction, in how silence feels unfamiliar or uneasy, in how your nervous system prefers background noise or quiet busyness to stillness. Fully arriving in yourself can feel exposed, and exposure was never what kept you safe. Sometimes the cost shows up as distance, not dramatic disconnection, just a subtle sense that life is happening one step away from you. Participate, you function, you respond. But something essential stays just behind a thin wall, watching rather than inhabiting. This isn't emptiness, it's containment. A careful holding of yourself so tight there's little room to move inside. Feelings still come, but they arrive softened and filtered, manageable enough to keep things steady. Even joy tends to be quiet. Even relief feels restrained, as if too much ease might draw attention you learn to avoid. You may notice how hard it is to let yourself want things. Not because you don't have desires, but because wanting feels risky. Wanting makes you visible. Needing takes up space. So your wants learn to whisper, and your needs learn to wait, sometimes so long they feel distant even to you. There can be a faint grief in recognizing this, not sharp or overwhelming. Just a quiet awareness of all the moments you softened yourself into the background. All the times you made yourself easier to carry than you needed to be. All the ways survival taught you to fade instead of arrive. There is no failure here, no flaw to correct. This was a form of intelligence, shaped by circumstances you had to navigate with limited choices. You learned to disappear because it worked, because it kept things calmer, more predictable, more manageable. And the part of you that adapted so well, is still working long after the environment that required it has changed. Still scanning, still shrinking, still stepping back, even when no one is pushing you away. You might notice this in simple moments, when someone asks what you want, and your mind goes blank. When attention turns toward you, and your body tightens without a clear reason. When you realize you've been agreeing or accommodating without ever checking in with yourself first. Understanding this doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't ask for change, courage, or resolution. It simply offers context, a wider frame for why your presence feels careful, why rest can feel uneasy even when nothing is wrong, why disappearing became second nature. Naming it can soften something inside, not dramatically, just enough to let your shoulders drop a fraction. Enough to notice how much effort has been going into staying contained. There is no ending this awareness needs to reach. There is only the quiet recognition that the part of you that learned to disappear was never trying to erase you, only to protect you. And in that understanding, there is space to rest without fixing, without becoming more, without fading further. Just being here quietly as you are.